Something dangerous is happening to this generation, and most people don't even realize it yet. We are living in the most connected time in human history, yet people have never felt more emotionally unstable. Attention spans are collapsing. Patience is disappearing. Small problems are creating massive breakdowns. One comment ruins an entire day. One rejection destroys confidence. One failure feels like the end of life. Why? Because this generation was taught how to scroll, but never taught how to stay emotionally strong. We are constantly stimulated, but internally exhausted. Dopamine replaced discipline. Validation replaced self-worth. And now millions of people are fighting silent emotional battles they can't explain. Look around. People are reacting faster than they are thinking. Relationships are breaking over ego. Anxiety is becoming normal. Anger is becoming identity. And emotional control, the one thing that separates strong minds from weak impulses, is slowly disappearing. But here's the truth nobody wants to say. When a society loses emotional control, it becomes easy to manipulate, easy to distract, and impossible to unite. And if we don't wake up now, we may become the first generation that has endless technology, but no inner peace. This speech is not just about emotions. It's about survival in a world designed to control your mind. People think emotional weakness appears overnight, but it doesn't. It begins quietly through constant pressure, endless comparison, and a world that never allows the mind to rest. Every single day, men are being attacked psychologically without even noticing it. Through screens, expectations, social media algorithms, unrealistic standards, and silent competition, the modern man is constantly being told he is not enough, not successful enough, not attractive enough, not rich enough, not strong enough. And when a man hears that message every day, eventually he stops leading his emotions and starts reacting to them. Men today are carrying pressure they don't know how to explain. Women often see the emotional distance, the frustration, or the sudden anger, but many don't see the invisible war happening inside the male mind. Men were taught to suppress emotion, not understand it. So, instead of expressing pain, many express irritations. Instead of admitting fear, they hide behind ego. And the more emotionally disconnected men become, the more unstable relationships become between men and women. Women are also being psychologically overwhelmed by a culture that constantly demands attention, perfection, and validation. And when both men and women become emotionally reactive instead of emotionally aware, communication turns into conflict. Love turns into competition. And emotional control slowly disappears under the weight of modern pressure. This generation has started confusing emotional reactions with emotional strength. The louder someone becomes, the more powerful they appear. The faster someone responds, the more confident they seem. But real strength has never been about losing control. Real strength is the ability to stay grounded when emotions are trying to pull you apart. Today, many men are rewarded for aggression instead of discipline. Anger gets attention. Silence gets ignored. And slowly, young men begin believing that reacting emotionally is proof of dominance. Men are growing up in a culture where emotional control is misunderstood as weakness. If a man stays calm, people assume he doesn't care. If he takes time to process emotion, people call him soft. So many men learn to perform toughness instead of building inner stability. Women often experience the consequences of this emotional confusion in relationships. Small disagreements turn into emotional battles because many men were never taught how to communicate pressure, insecurity, or fear without reacting impulsively. Women are also being conditioned to react emotionally for validation because outrage now spreads faster than wisdom. Social media rewards emotional explosions, not emotional maturity. And when both men and women begin valuing reaction over reflection, relationships lose trust, conversations lose depth, and emotional chaos starts looking normal in everyday life. Social media did not just change communication, it changed emotional behavior. An entire generation has been conditioned to measure self-worth through attention. Likes became approval, views became identity, followers became status, and the more people chase validation online, the more emotionally unstable they become offline. Because when your confidence depends on the reaction of strangers, your emotions become vulnerable to every opinion, every comparison, and every moment of rejection. Men are silently suffering under this pressure more than most people realize. Young men constantly compare themselves to unrealistic lifestyles, bodies, money, and success shown on screens every single day. Many feel behind in life before they have even begun living it. Instead of building inner confidence, they start performing for validation. Some become emotionally numb. Others become angry, insecure, or addicted to proving themselves. Women often experience this through emotionally unavailable men who are physically present but mentally trapped in comparison and pressure. Women are also being pushed into a cycle of emotional dependence on online approval. Beauty standards, attention culture, and constant comparison create anxiety disguised as confidence. And when both men and women become addicted to validation, relationships stop feeling safe because people begin seeking external attention to fill internal emptiness, causing emotional stability to slowly disappear beneath the pressure of digital perfection. The moment people lose control of their emotions, they become easier to influence. Fear changes decisions. Anger clouds judgment. Insecurity creates dependency. And the modern world understands this better than most people do. That is why so much of today's culture is designed to keep people emotionally reactive instead of emotionally aware. Because emotionally unstable people consume more, argue more, compare more, and think less. A distracted mind is easier to guide than a disciplined one. Men today are constantly being emotionally triggered without realizing it. Many are manipulated through comparison, status, rejection, and the pressure to prove their worth. When a man does not understand his emotions, he becomes controlled by them. Some men react with aggression because they were never taught emotional discipline. Others shut down completely because they believe vulnerability makes them weak. Women often encounter the effects of this emotional imbalance in relationships, where communication becomes defensive, trust becomes fragile, and emotional pressure turns into emotional distance. Women are also being emotionally manipulated by unrealistic expectations pushed through media, trends, and online culture. Fear of not being enough keeps people seeking approval from systems that profit from insecurity. And when both men and women begin making emotional decisions instead of conscious ones, society becomes easier to divide, relationships become easier to damage, and emotional control slowly gets replaced by emotional dependency and psychological exhaustion. This generation has more comfort than any generation before it. Yet it struggles with emotional pressure more than ever. Everything is instant now. Entertainment is instant. Attention is instant. Pleasure is instant. And when people become used to instant comfort, they slowly lose the ability to handle discomfort. Mental resilience is not built when life is easy. It is built when people learn how to stay calm under pressure, patient during struggle, and disciplined during emotional pain. But modern culture teaches people to escape discomfort instead of grow through it. Men are especially affected by this emotional weakness because many are no longer taught the value of endurance. The modern man is surrounded by distractions designed to keep him comfortable but emotionally dependent. Instead of facing loneliness, many escape into screens. Instead of building purpose, many chase temporary pleasure. And when pressure finally arrives in real life, They emotionally collapse because comfort never prepared them for hardship. Women often experience this through men who avoid responsibility, avoid difficult conversations, or emotionally shut down the moment life becomes overwhelming. Women are also facing emotional exhaustion because comfort culture constantly promises happiness without struggle. Social media creates the illusion that healthy relationships, confidence, and success should feel effortless all the time. As a result, many people panic the moment relationships become difficult or emotions become uncomfortable. Patience is disappearing because people have been conditioned to quit anything that challenges their feelings. Strong minds are not created through comfort. They are created through pressure, discipline, emotional control, and the willingness to face uncomfortable truths without running from them. The future will not belong to the loudest people. It will belong to the people who can stay emotionally grounded while everyone else is losing control. In a world filled with distraction, outrage, comparison, and constant pressure, emotional mastery is becoming one of the rarest forms of strength. Most people today react instantly to everything. They let anger control decisions, fear control actions, and insecurity control relationships. But the people who learn to control their emotions instead of being controlled by them will have a massive advantage in every part of life. Men who master their emotions become dangerous in the best possible way, not because they dominate others, but because they no longer become slaves to impulse, ego, or validation. A man who can stay calm under pressure earns trust. A man who can control anger gains respect. A man who understands his emotions without being consumed by them becomes mentally unshakable. Women naturally feel safer around emotionally stable men because emotional control creates consistency, discipline, and emotional security in relationships. The modern world often teaches men to suppress emotion completely or express it destructively. But true strength comes from emotional awareness combined with self-control. Women who master their emotions also become powerful in a world designed to constantly manipulate emotional reactions. Emotional intelligence allows women to protect their peace instead of constantly seeking approval from people, trends, or social pressure. And when emotionally mature men and emotionally aware women come together, relationships stop becoming emotional battlefields and start becoming places of growth, trust, and stability. The people who will lead the future are not the ones who react the fastest. They are the ones who think clearly when emotions rise, stay disciplined when life becomes difficult, and remain emotionally balanced in a world that profits from emotional chaos.